Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. And we have Frances Littman here. And Frances is going to be highlighting the Esquimalt area, and then she's going to be talking about her businesses and passion. But first, let's talk about Esquimalt. So what part of Esquimalt do you live in?
Well, I'm near Sax Point Park. I can see it from my kitchen window, which is really lovely. But I'm in a little part of Esquimalt that a lot of people tend to forget. It's almost at the end of Esquimalt Road. It's just off Esquimalt Road. And what's so lovely about this area is that the street that I'm on and all the successive streets leading right down to the base pretty much, all dead end at the ocean. And they have little waterfront parks. And I probably shouldn't have said that because now everyone will know about it.
Do people come by and offload boats and paddleboards and stuff here?
No, thank goodness. Well, at least not on my street, because at the end of my street there's a walkway and a lookout over to the water, but the other streets do have beach access, so I haven't seen that here.
So how long have you lived here?
25 years in this house, a couple years in another house on the same street. It was a wheelbarrow move. I loved it so much. I just, moved across the street because I knew the view was just on the other side, and it's been wonderful.
And what's the demographic of people in this area? Do you find is it families or older couples? I know there are lots of retirees because I've shown houses in the area of people who are obviously just moving out after a long lifetime there.
Well, a lot of people don't move from Esquimalt. That's what I found with my street. I mean, there's been very little turnover in the 25 years I've been here. I've known just about all my neighbors. And I would say the demographic is changing because, yes, some of those retirees are now, their homes are going to young families. I'm seeing a lot of young working couples. I'm really seeing a big change in the demographic now. There is a changing of the guard. And what I love is that so many people I talk to now go, "Oh, you live in Esquimalt? Oh, I love Esquimalt." And that's a really new thing. I've always been proud to live in Esquimalt. I've never hidden the fact. In fact, I even spent grades 6 and 7 here and went to Rock Heights Elementary. So it's like I came back to this neighborhood.
But I have a Facebook group, and you guys are welcome to join it. It's called I Love Esquimalt, interestingly enough. But there's also the Esquimalt Community Connection, and I find the mayor is quite involved in all of this, Barb Desjardins. How do you find the community at large out here?
I find these are very lovely people. The community at large is lovely because they're very real people. Have you ever been to our Esquimalt Farmers Market? Mm-hmm. Isn't it wonderful? Those are where you're going to see, that's exactly where you'll see all the real people, the lovely people that live in Esquimalt. It tends to be very down to earth, mostly working class, lovely, just beautiful people.
So in terms of amenities, I actually volunteer at the Archie Browning Arena 3 days a week. I teach speed skating there.
Oh, yeah, I know you're really active. My gosh, look at you. You wouldn't know that looking at your tan, though. You're inside. Speed skating. What the heck? Anyways, go on.
And then, so there's a community center. There's the Archie Browning Arena, which is good for curling and speed skating and regular skating, public skating. And then what about community events in this area?
Oh, there's so many wonderful community events. We have music in the park. We have art in the park. We have the farmers market in the park. And of course, we have amazing parks. That's what I love most about living in Esquimalt. But, our rec center, it's fabulous. It's like just really a community meeting place. And even the Archie Browning. It goes back a long ways in my history because I spent many, many years as a kid ice skating there. Not speed skating, but ice skating and roller skating. And Yeah, there's a roller disco party coming up that will be there. And I have the feeling there's going to be a lot of people reconnecting after 40 years or more. It should be fun. There's lots of fun here.
There's also roller derby.
Yes. I never got into roller derby, but a little known fact I think in 1976, I was the one and only CKDA radio station back then. It was very popular. I was the roller queen, the Esquimalt roller queen. Who knew? I was like 14 or 15. I can't remember now, but if I did the math, yes, I was 14. So there you go, 15, 14 going on 15. And I got to wear a big crown and I won all these prizes and I just couldn't believe it. It was wonderful.
Well, I went, so they, in the summer, they hold the roller derby practice in the curling rink. So I went to one of the practices just to watch. And actually, I noticed they do all the same drills that we do in speed skating. So we actually had two women come and join us for speed skating. It was funny to watch them because I was watching them and thinking the way they move their elbows is different, the roller derby. And they're, they do all this stuff where they have pylons and they do this special turn to move between people. It's quite involved. So if you're interested, I'm sure they'd love to have you come out and join them.
No, no, I won't be joining roller derby. I'd rather watch that. I don't even know if I can even get on roller skates anymore. It's been a long time.
You can wear the 4-wheel ones.
I've always worn the 4-wheel ones. I never liked the other ones. And, I had my beautiful white skates that I won as CKDA Roller Queen because I used to rent my skates and I still have them.
Let's get a picture of them.
We should. I'll have to dig them out. But, I painted them black about 20 years ago because I want it to be, I didn't want people noticing. All the inline skaters would look at me like, what is this woman got on her feet?
So what about there's other stuff that happens around in between the Archie Browning and the community center. So in terms of community events, I'm thinking the Rib Fest.
Yeah, that's a big one. They always have tremendous live music. I love going for the music. It's just fabulous.
How many people go to that?
Oh, that's hard to say, but I really don't know. But it's packed. I mean, that field is massive and it's packed.
Yeah, it's like thousands, I think, 2,000, maybe 3,000. Okay, and then they also have Buccaneer Days.
That's been going on a long time. I remember even as a kid waking up to the caller because they drive around at 7:30 in the morning and go, wakey, wakey, it's Buccaneer Days. And I haven't heard that for a few years, so maybe it's, times have changed. But they did that for, honestly, over 30 years.
Do they have a parade route?
Yes, they do. Yeah, a parade as well. Yeah. Esquimalt's happening. What can I say?
And what about in terms of new developments around here? So they have the Hug coming.
The Hug. You'll have to tell me more.
So this is a trail around Esquimalt, so you could actually walk or ride your bike anywhere in the area, and they're joining up trails. I just noticed the one on Admiral's Road is almost done.
I didn't realize they were calling it the Hug. I like that name. That's good.
Barb told me that.
Oh, okay. If Barb told you, then Barb knows.
Okay, what about places to eat in Esquimalt? We have not had an Esquimalt speaker in our repertoire yet, so...
Well, I would say because I buy all my goodies and all my groceries at the farmer's market, the best place for me to eat is at home. Because I love all my lovely nutritional food that I get from that market and eating at the food trucks at the farmer's market. So I'm not the best person to ask on eating in Esquimalt, but, I'm sure there's lots of people can tell you there's wonderful places around the corner because there are.
So around the corner is La Belle Patate, which if you're into poutine is one of the places to eat in Victoria. So it's French fries with gravy and curds, which is a Canadian national pastime for you Americans. And then the other, there's a really nice Mexican restaurant on Admiral's Road. And there's also one on Esquimalt Road right near Head Street. And of course, there's all the regular restaurants and stuff like Tim Hortons and stuff, which we stop for in the morning. Okay, so entertainment around here. What do you do for entertainment? Walking?
Oh, I love being able to do this beautiful circuitous route through Sax Point Park, along the waterfront, up to Fleming's Beach, and then back home. It's just a lovely route. There's just so many different ways that you can go for a walk in Esquimalt and go through a park. So I also love High Rock Park and tend to go from here, go up the hills, enjoy the hill workout, and come back. And you can do everything on foot, I find, in Esquimalt, and that's what I love so much about it. And I also love to bike, so I'm close to everything. And what I think, actually, one of the most special things about Esquimalt is that we don't get stuck behind a tally-ho or, tourist vehicles or tourist buses and a lot of traffic other than at rush hour. But to go into town or to go generally to the ferry, we're in that really convenient location where, depending on the time of day, you can get anywhere very quickly from Esquimalt.
Yeah, there's also the Canadian Forces base here. So for anybody who's in the military, we're quite local. And I think Esquimalt had a bad reputation when I moved here 20 years ago, and it's really changed. What do you think?
Oh, I would agree. And I have to credit that bad reputation for allowing me to get into the real estate market because it kept the prices, I think, lower than they should have been. And I remember thinking after moving in that everyone's so lucky who lives in Esquimalt. And at some point that's going to change as far as the pricing, because there's nothing out there that's this convenient to town, to everything, to the amenities, to the rec centers, to the parks, to the ocean at this kind of a price. It's amazing.
I was involved in a sort of a public awareness group. This guy was doing some research on the new development in the Songhees, which is called the Rail Yards. And it was interesting because I was with realtors who had been in the business for 20 or 30 years. And then there was me who had only been in the business 5 years. And I had a completely different perspective because coming from Toronto, I didn't have the what I would say is a prejudice towards this area. So there is a blue collar side to Esquimalt, right?
Yeah, real people living in a real place. And what I love about Esquimalt as well, if you come from, not to knock any other communities, but when you come from these new developments on the West Shore where there isn't a tree in sight and everything's just denuded and houses are like 2 feet from each other, and you come back into established neighborhood with trees, it's like, I don't care what they say about Esquimalt. I would rather come back to my established neighborhood with trees than be in some place that feels sterile.
Yeah, and you'll find here also, I'm seeing lots of Gary Oaks too, which are protected, right?
Yes, and I think my yard probably has the most trees of anybody on the street. People can't believe that. Here I am from, 2 blocks from the military base and like a block away from Esquimalt Road, and I've got what looks like a park in my backyard, and deer and raccoons and all the birds, and it's just alive.
Cool. So, I think you've been given a great overview of the neighborhood of Esquimalt, very family friendly and well established with lots of amenities. So if you're interested in knowing more, you can contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. We're going to be back in 1 minute with Frances, and she's going to be talking about her business, which is
Frances Littman Multimedia.
And her passion, which is?
Oh, I'll tell you soon.
Okay, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Chat with you soon. Bye.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. And I am back with Frances Littman, who's going to be talking about her business, Frances Littman Multimedia, as well as her passion, which we'll be talking about in a second. So tell me, you were formerly Frances Littman Photography, and you got into multimedia. Why did you change the name?
Well, a lot has been happening in my industry in the last few years. I've been a professional photographer for over 25 years. And prior to that, I worked at the Times Colonist for 16 years, doing a lot of writing and editing, that type of thing, and then got into photography, and things just evolve. And so I'm branching into doing marketing and sort of business mentorship, writing, photography, and a variety of things that use all my skills. So it keeps me busy.
So I've been here before, and I'm seeing your house is just filled with these beautiful photos that you've taken, obviously. So tell me a bit about what type of photography you like doing, who's your ideal client, and how do people get in touch with you?
I've been very fortunate. I have photographed a lot of people in this city and made a lot of friends through my business. I photograph people. That's my specialty, is mostly people. Although I do events and special events. Like I've done a lot of weddings over the years, a lot of corporate events. I'd say I'm moving more into books. I'm doing books now for people and headshot, a lot more headshots, a lot more corporate and business. I just did a job, for example, with Coast Capital Savings, photographing their new offices and helping them with some marketing materials. So it's a variety of things.
So I'm seeing some family photos. We'll share these with you. They're quite fun. How do people come up with the concept of those?
I'm usually the one who comes up with the concept. I think as a photographer, you have to get to know your subject rapidly, because often you're meeting them on the first day that you're photographing them. For example, that photo with those people with the umbrella, they had come all the way from Saskatchewan and to visit their sister who had had her portraits taken with me. And they had said, we want ocean shots. And I'm like, well, it's pouring with rain today. And they're like, we don't care. We're going to the ocean. So I had to quickly gather up some white umbrellas, which I fortunately keep on hand, and just sort of jolly them up to get that kind of, like, we're out in the rain, but let's not make this somber. Let's make this fun. And everyone had a great time. And then thankfully, due to Photoshop, I could get rid of all the raindrops that had fallen on their clothes and make them look like they were dry and covered by those umbrellas, which sort of did the job.
What about other family photos that you have around here? So I see a pregnancy one over.
Well, I have the honor of photographing people at all stages of their life. And it's been really remarkable because I'm coming up to 30 years in my business. And I'm actually looking at doing a retrospective show of where are they now. And those people from, the lady that you're referring to, the maternity shot, I mean, I've often been lucky enough to photograph couples at their engagement and then do their wedding and then do their maternity shots and then do their family portraits. And now I'm also getting to the point where I'm starting to do their kids' weddings. So it's, you're getting a little long in the tooth when. And it's just such an honor. So at all levels. So this show that I'm looking at doing would be looking back at some of the babies I photographed who are probably coming up to 30 soon and what has happened in their lives since.
Do you find that there's a self-esteem issue with photographing people?
It's really tough for people generally to be in front of the camera. I think it's much like public speaking. It terrifies a lot of people. So that's the skill also of a qualified photographer, is to put their subjects at ease quickly and just make it as fun as possible. So they're not even really aware that they're having their photo taken. It just becomes like all of a sudden you're having a relationship and, people are having a conversation with you, and next thing you know, the photo session's over and they're like, oh, really? And that's why I think I've maintained so many great relationships with so many people for so long, because I understand how terrifying it can be.
Yeah, I find that a bit with this show too, actually.
Well, you're doing amazingly well. Holy, you have no fear, Jane. You hide it well.
No, not me, but my clients. I have to.
Oh, of course, your clients. I should have known. You have no fear. Okay.
And there's some art here. Is this your art?
Some of it, not all of it. I'd say there's about 3 pieces in my entire home that everybody else or somebody else has done. And otherwise, I've done everything from taking photos and painting them, to making them look like paintings, to adding encaustic to them, to you name it. So I try a variety of artistic techniques, and I teach classes, actually. I call them play shops. And we get together and I put together workshops that are really fun, and people who have a sense of no creativity realize they have lots of creativity.
Okay, so one of the things that you mentioned, is you provide people with books. So tell me a bit about these 4 books that you have here.
Well, this first one I think you'll really appreciate. It was taken for a family who had lived in a house for 30 years. The father, the patriarch of the family, wanted to sell it. His wife said, no way. They had raised 4 kids there. It was a very special home and garden for them. And so he called me up. I don't recall how he found me, but he called me up and said, I really would like you to photograph our house and our garden, because I had done quite a few home and garden things for House Beautiful for the Times Colonist. And I think that's how he found me. And so he told me that he wanted to sell the house, but his wife didn't. So by producing these photographs and putting a book together, which he was going to give to his wife and all his kids, they would finally have a collection of the place they called home and maybe be able to let go of it, because he was the gardener and he was getting tired of it. And everybody loved what he did, but he wanted to move on and nobody else did. So the book really covers the enormity of his labor of love here. Wow. And all kinds of little details. And the house was very special because it was done by quite a well-known architect. So I captured details as well of the house, every aspect of the garden. And he told me that when he did give the book to his wife and his children, they finally agreed to let him sell the house. So he was very happy. And then, of course, it made a great sales tool and something for the new owners to have as well. I photograph people on all kinds of special occasions. And, you know, what always surprises me is sometimes people will come in thinking they just want one portrait, and we'll have such a wonderful session that before I know it, I'm creating a book for them.
I love that, the front and the back.
Oh yeah, I love these books, and they're really built to last generations and be passed on. So sometimes people want me to do something in studio a little more formal. Sometimes, you know, they don't know what they want, so we do a combination of things, and that includes going out, doing all kinds of different looks, and they think they're just going to have one photo for their wall, and then they come back and see the collection and say, I can't believe we did that in like an hour, and I feel like you've captured our love story or just so many aspects of who we are that what can we do? So it usually turns into a book. Yeah. I also think what's so much fun is because I've probably photographed 600 weddings in my career now. I've seen everything. And what like I said, the honor is to have the opportunity to meet successive generations that come from those weddings. And so this was a case where this couple was actually a military couple, and they got married at Butchart Gardens and in the winter. And you'd never know it because this photo, which is in the front of their book, was taken on the same day that we had a massive snowfall about an hour later.
Oh, my God.
And so, any case, this book was they came back to Victoria. They're now living on the East Coast. They came back to Victoria, and they had me spend a couple hours with them and their family. And I had never met their kids. So it was just so wonderful to see what had come of their romance and now meet their family. And so I put together, all these photos were actually taken in Esquimalt, and which is my favorite photo taking location, as you can imagine. It's just, and it captures the beauty not only of the children, but of the area, of our beautiful parks, and all the things I was telling you earlier about why I love Esquimalt. I find a lot of people love too. So yeah, so that's that.
That's great.
And then, of course, people love their pets. They love their pets. And so here's a case where somebody came to me and said, my dog and I have been so close for so long. can you get a couple shots? And the couple shots turned into a book because this dog was so cute. And, the owner was pretty nice looking too. So, we captured I captured some real moments of not only the dog, lots of really cute portraits, but I captured some, really, nice moments with the owner, like the dog's dad, let's say, and just some really tender moments. Yeah.
Here, let's show this one.
Okay, we can show that one. Yeah, just some tender moments. I mean, who can't relate to their dog like that, right? And again, it taken in our beautiful parks. So yeah, that's just some of the few things that I'm doing.
So tell me about your passion now.
Well, about 7 years ago, I had an epiphany, and being a lover of beauty and loving where I live, absolutely loving where I live, and looking out and seeing so much nature just in my own backyard, and becoming aware of what was starting to happen with our forests and with our oceans and all the things that we love and would cherish and need to have as a healthy, happy society, we're becoming imperiled, it seemed to me. And as a photographer, I thought there's got to be more that I can do. And so I was already donating to numerous charities and thought maybe I could give them my time, and I could bring all these charities together in a way that was creative and call on all my creative community, and we could put on a festival that would bring the public to meet their community doing the hero work, as far as I'm concerned, protecting and preserving what we all love. So that started in 2012, and it was called Creatively United for the Planet. And I had never done anything like this in my life. You know, what you don't know is you don't realize what you're getting yourself into until you're into it. And I voluntarily produced a giant event that became an annual Earth Day festival where thousands of people have come out every year, probably 10,000 now, with all the events that I've hosted and held. And again, just strictly from a volunteer passion place in my heart of trying to help raise the awareness of why we need to protect and preserve what's so precious to us, as far as our social, and it's related to social justice and our environment and, having resilient economies by protecting and preserving our environment. And it's just been tremendous. So I'm working on another huge event coming up, which probably in about 7 years I've done, probably over 20 events now, and they've attracted a lot of people. And there's a website where this passion just continues all year round, where people can connect on creativelyunited.org. We even have a pair up directory. So if people are looking for value-based organizations and people doing really incredible work in our community that they might like to align their values with, they can find those people there. We post events. We have resources, videos, all kinds of things. And again, it's just been strictly from wanting and seeing a need that existed to give more of those people doing the hero work more exposure.
So okay, you host the event and you're selling tickets to it, raising money. No,
it's never been about the money. This has been more about awareness and bringing community together. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't been paid, because it hasn't been about raising money. It's been about raising awareness, using the skills that I have, which have been photography, writing, marketing, connections, connecting people, loving my community, bringing all that together in a way that really benefits those organizations. And so they have told me, a lot of organizations have said, we found our best volunteers through Creatively United, through the festivals, through your website. We've found very engaged donors through that. We've managed to get the word out about our events through you. So I feel like that's my community service piece, and I'm really committed to doing that. It takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything like that elsewhere in other communities?
Not that I'm aware of. I think that, as far as I know, we held, I put together the biggest sustainability showcase and Earth Day festival in 2016 in North America. It was the biggest. It was, over I've been doing this every year, and they just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Like hundreds of exhibitors, hundreds of performers, farm-to-table dinners. They've been tremendously big. And I think it's getting to the point now, the online community social network is really starting to take off. So this is the place that I feel the festival can live on.
Very, very cool. So how do people volunteer to help you?
You can go to creativelyunited.org, check it out. You can always sign up as a volunteer there, or, check out the pair up directory that's on there to look at how you can pair up with other organizations in need of volunteers as well.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. I've learned so much about you. I knew you slightly before. I figured, but now I feel I know you pretty well.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I just love this aspect, actually. And if you're interested in becoming a guest, we'd love for you. Please click on the link below on VancouverIslandTime.com, and it says Become a Guest. Fill out the form and we'll interview you as well. So if you're interested in more information about Frances Littman, please contact her through
FrancesLittman.com, Franceslitman.
Or if you want more information on Creatively United,
creativelyunited.org.
Okay, and I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. We hope to see you soon. Take care.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.